It's just another TNA review.
Hi, good morning, everybody. I'm A. This is Tay, and welcome to another episode of Tay and A Chiefs Recap. So we're discussing the Chiefs versus Cowboys. So coming off another win as we enter this bye week.
Yeah.
So the Chiefs pretty much dominated on defense. They
Yeah.
bailed out Patrick Mahomes, I think, this week. He had a
Mhm.
fumble, he had a pick.
Yeah.
He didn't have his best performance, but the defense, Chris Jones, he had 3.5 sacks, forcing a fumble and recovering one as well.
Yeah.
You had Ward and Snead with picks from Prescott's passes at crucial points
Mhm.
in the game. Ezekiel Elliott, he was underperforming as well, to my surprise. But
Yeah.
so what do you have to say about their Chiefs defense going into this bye week?
Yeah. I mean, you know, I have been tooting on the defense's horn for weeks now. So the fact that they were able to do what they did against this, I know they're in the top three. I thought they were the number one ranked scoring offense, but I know they're at least in the top three, or they were up until they played us. But just the fact that they were able to go out there and do what we have been seeing them do against teams that everybody else would say is mediocre or don't have their starting quarterback, or whatever they've said about the opponents that we've played as of late, or a declining Raiders team. I mean, like we've heard it all, right? But it's like, if you have watched the Chiefs all season, then you know the complete 360 that this defense has taken in the last 4 to 5 weeks. So I was just like super proud that they were able to go out there and like prove themselves and be like, hey man, like we're for real. Like we're not just doing well against teams that aren't doing so hot or have a backup quarterback or whatever. Like, no, we're legit and we're good. And I love the fact that Chris was able to be all over Dak. They used to be teammates at Mississippi State, I think. Mississippi State is where they were at. And I don't know. And we kind of had a similar situation with Crosby and Wiley during the Raiders Chiefs game. Like former teammates going up against each other. I just always think it's so cool, especially when they're out on the opposite sides of the ball and they literally get to go against each other. I just think that's really dope, and I really like that Chris was able to be on the upside of this, of course. And he was able to get the best of Dak. I felt like we didn't show anything to the Cowboys that they haven't seen. Like, I think that the game plan going in was supposed to be like, don't blitz Dak because he's doing well against the blitz. And like, we literally just kept doing it and it worked in our favor. And like, I know that they were missing some people, and that's unfortunately been the name of the game this season. Like, everybody has missed people at one point in time. And, obviously it's a big injury year. There's top running backs on every team have been out. Literally, like every top running back has missed a significant amount of time on, like, when you think of all the big guys in the league, like every single one of them has missed time. Like, I'm talking like IR type of stuff, like 3 weeks or more. And then you look at the quarterbacks, there's been quarterbacks hurt everywhere. There's been top receivers hurt everywhere. There's been COVID stuff. Like, and again, with our defense, like there's been injury bugs everywhere and it sucks. But Dallas obviously had to deal with quite a few on Sunday. And then CD, I know, got hurt during that interception right before the half. He hit his head, which during the game being there, like we had no idea that he wasn't even in the game. We knew our defense was dominating. So it's not like we were even really thinking of who was out there for the Cowboys. But obviously I heard afterwards what had happened and I saw the play and I was like, oh yeah, well that would take somebody out, hitting your head on the back of the turf like that. So I don't know. I thought the defense overall was just phenomenal. I mean, they were flying around out there. Chris and Frank and Melvin on the line applying pressure, and then the secondary was phenomenal. Secondary, I thought, did phenomenal. They were flying all over the place. Obviously, we had the 2 picks by the young guys. I love when the young guys get the interceptions. Like, I like when Tyrann Mathieu, is able to come up with something. But I just, or Dirty Dan if it happens. But I feel like it's like super like fulfilling when Snead and Ward and Fenton and like those kind of guys get the picks, because I don't know, like they're the guys that we hopefully have going forward for a long time, So I think it's really nice to see them out there making plays. Ward's was fantastic. His was the one on CD right before the half. That was huge. I mean, like if they score there, what do we have? 13 at the half. So that would have made it like 10-13. Like that's essentially like a whole nother ball game, So him getting the pick there was huge. Obviously, Snead at the end to seal the game was huge. I just thought that they couldn't have done better. I mean, there were multiple times where the offense had the turnovers or whatever, and then it put the defense kind of in a bad spot, and they still just held their own, and they were able to hold them to field goals. And again, with the top 3 or number 1 scoring offense, like that is a huge feat. Like, I mean, they literally just demolished the Falcons. They played someone a couple weeks ago and put up a 40 burger on them. Like, I mean, I know that Denver held them, which is also a testament to their defense, So I think anytime they play with someone that has a defense that is worth a crap, then they kind of struggle a little bit. And I know that Dak was saying he was all upset, and he's like, I'm not just mad, I'm pissed off, like after the game. And I'm like, well, good for you. I hope you are mad because you kind of got embarrassed. And and I just always think it's interesting when like the AFC plays the NFC, because you get 2 teams that are like, the Cowboys are in the conversation for making it to the Super Bowl. I know the Rams have obviously been in the talks, Green Bay, whatever, and like the Chiefs haven't been in the talks. Now we are, after what we did to the Cowboys, but I just always think it's funny because it's like, those are the games that don't matter, so to speak, but like they totally do. Like you still have to try to win these games, and so, now we're coming out on top of Green Bay and the Cowboys. Obviously, again, Green Bay without Rodgers, but that's beside the point. We have two of those wins, which have obviously helped our stakes and put us in a better place, but kind of brought Green Bay and the Cowboys down. So I think the defense did great. Offense had good moments, and honestly, I think if we didn't have that, and I just want to say this too, like, people are still trying to harp on Mahomes and whatnot, and I'm like, listen, like, they have a good defense too. Like Micah, is that his name? Micah Parsons, the rookie on Dallas. I think that is his name. Parsons, the rookie. He is phenomenal. I mean, that guy, he was flying all over the place. And I think Orlando Brown was probably the guy that was supposed to be blocking him. And I'm like, how can you? That guy's a freaking monster coming off the line. He's just like DDD trying to get to the quarterback. Like, he is fantastic. And I've been saying that this year. I think he is great. So, props to them. Like, they did a good job too. Like, honestly, it was a very defensive oriented game, which honestly makes it more fun, honestly. Like, I like the high scoring stuff. I like the game that we had against the Raiders. Like, obviously that is fun, but the games when you score just enough and then the defense just holds them the whole second half. I mean, that is like a whole different type of adrenaline rush that I think that people that, aren't big football fans, like they wouldn't understand, but I think that those type of games are almost more fun because it's like you're just at a constant mind state of like, oh, is the defense gonna let him score anything or not? But
that drama.
Yeah, right, exactly. And then your team gets the ball and you're like, oh yeah, we're gonna go score. Oh wait, we're gonna turn it over. Never mind. Or oh, we're gonna get sacked on 3rd down. Like, whatever it is. And so I think that the offense still played well. And I know that might sound crazy because we literally scored field goals in the second half. And again, credit to Dallas's defense. I think that we did well for what we were being dealt. I think if the turnovers didn't happen in those 2 series, that obviously we would have at least scored 2 more field goals. I mean, ideally we would have got a touchdown out of one of those because we had good momentum. Like we were moving the ball down the field. We had a great run game. Clyde was back. Clyde was doing very well. And I felt like seeing the field better than he ever has, which I know he still didn't have a huge like gain or anything, but just able to see him out there and working back from his injury was great. So I liked that. I think that was a positive. I think that interception on Kelsey was just, oh my God. Like, it's like everyone that we've already talked about that we've already seen this year is like, okay, it was in his hands. Oh wait, no, it's in the other guy's hands. Like, how in the world does this even happen? Like, but on that play, I don't know if you saw it in real time or if you saw a replay, but shout out to Byron Pringle. That guy literally was obviously the ball was going the other way, right? So Byron's out in front of a couple of Dallas defenders, and then when he sees that the ball ends up in the Dallas guy hands, he hurry up and turns it around, and he goes and he catches the guy that made the interception. Which, by the way, if Byron didn't catch him, that guy could have gone to the house because there was really no one else that was even close to catching him. So props to him for a heads up play, and also I don't know, that's just like the type of like teamwork and like wanting to do well for your team that like can't really be taught, you know? Like he very easily could have just stayed where he was at and be like, oh, I'm too far back to make a play, or you know, it is what it is. He takes it to the house or whatever. Like it reminds me of the DK Metcalf play where he literally trucked down the field and caught that guy right before he made it to the end zone, and then they held him to a field goal, you know? And so that's kind of the same deal in this scenario. Like obviously we held them to nothing but field goals. So like if they would have took that and run it back, like okay, well then again we're looking at a whole different ball game. So props to kind of the whole team for just playing their role and knowing kind of what needed to be done. There was also the fake field goal where they went to go kick it, and instead we punted it down in the corner and got it on like the 1 yard line. I thought that was really smart. I think that Harrison Butker probably could have made that field goal because he just made like a 53 or 54 yarder couple of series before that. So he probably easily could have made the field goal, but I think it was wiser in that moment to kind of pin him at the 1 because our defense was doing great, and they proved it again in the next series. So yeah, I just think overall, like, you know, even though people say the offense didn't look so hot, the offense didn't do so good, like I thought that the team in itself looked good. Take away the 2 turnovers, but again, give credit to their D. You know, that's kind of what they've been doing is winning the turnover battle. So the fact that we were actually able to win it overall with the strip sack and then the 2 INTs, you know, we've talked about this before. I mean, that's how you win games. You got to win the turnover battle, regardless of, you know, kind of how the game is going anyway. Like you got to win that, or else your odds go way, way down as far as if you're going to win the game or not. So overall, I was happy with it. I mean, I thought the defense was fantastic. The offense did just enough, you know, and I know that kind of sounds silly, I guess, coming from like a Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid led offense, but they did what they had to do to get the job done. And how can you be upset at that? You know, I think people are, oh, they didn't score a touchdown in the second half. Like, who cares? They didn't need to. You know, our defense literally held the Cowboys to nothing. So, you know, would it have been nice to score more points with the offense? Of course, but it doesn't always work out that way. And, you know, we shouldn't always have this high expectation of Patrick Mahomes and the offense that, oh, they have to score 30 or it's not a good offensive game. Like, no, that's not true. So I just think that it was good overall, and I was happy with their performance, honestly.
Yeah, I was good with it as well. You know, you had Clyde coming back from injury, him scoring TD. They eliminated a lot of the penalties, and they kept the turnovers to a minimum, and that helped as well. But I wanted to get your thoughts on that penalty from Joseph to Rashad Fenton ripping off his helmet. What was your thoughts on that? I thought that was kind of strange. I was just curious to hear what you thought.
Yeah, so first of all, it was weird in real time because in real time, and again, my seats are up top, so we can see everything up there. You know, there's not anything that happens that like we don't really see, you know. And so all I know was that Rashad was over by their sideline, and then all of a sudden you kind of started to see like everybody just like swarm around Fenton, and we're like, oh, what's going on? Well, then we saw that the helmet was like already off. So like when we finally realized what was happening and we saw all of them and we saw Fenton, we saw the helmet was off. So then there was no flag, no nothing at this point in time when there probably should have been a flag. So we're like, okay, what on earth is happening? Well, then we see Rashad in the middle of the field doing this. So we're like, what is going on? And of course he's right. I think he was right next to John Hussey, who, oh my God, I was so upset with his play calls early in the game. So upset. But anyways, that's beside the point. So then John Hussey decides, oh, well, Fenton did that, so I'm going to throw the flag. Well, you know, and we're all like, no, like we saw what just happened on the sideline. Like that is why he did what he did. Like, yeah, he probably shouldn't have done that, but like the entire bench was like all in his face. So I have no idea what actually happened, but I know that the original call was crap, and thank goodness they realized that it was on. Oh, I mean, originally on Dallas. I mean, I don't know what happened with like the scuffle on the sideline. I don't know what was said. I don't know, but I know that the first call was wrong. Honestly, they should have probably been like offsetting penalties. It should have been on the bench and then on Fenton for doing whatever he did. But I mean, somehow they pulled off his helmet. So I mean, that should have been a penalty in itself. I don't really know. It was really bizarre. It was really bizarre.
Yeah.
And then while we're on the topic of the officiating of this game, let me just say that John Hussey and his crew are probably my least favorite. Like they are so, oh my God. Like I don't even know what was happening during the first part of that game. And then you had the part where Mahomes went to run forward a couple yards and then he slid, and then the other Cowboy guy comes in and like hits his head, and I'm like, what are we actually doing here? Because if that was over half of the other quarterbacks in the league, like that would have been a flag without thinking about it. Like I don't know why Patrick Mahomes does not get these calls, and like it's crazy because you know it with your quarterback and Justin Fields. Like Justin Fields in that Steelers game probably should have had like 2 or 3 roughing the passers that just never got called. And like, you know, I'm not one for the penalties.
Yeah.
Like I really don't want there to be a lot of flags, but like the ones that are blatant and, you know, could hurt a player, like I'm just like, what are you doing? You know? And I don't like that they are not as consistent with that stuff. And they were just very frustrating. I'm glad that they calmed down a little bit in the second half and they weren't as flag happy, but oh my gosh, in the first parts of that game, I mean, I don't know what it sounded like on TV, but I promise you we were upset at Arrowhead. We were not happy.
Yeah, they let a lot of calls go, especially with holding calls, roughing the passer, pass interference. They let a lot of calls go. It was almost like It was like they were a replacement rest for a second. You know how they get a lot of these questionable calls. They just kind of let it go. But I don't know. It was different watching it on TV. But
I'm sure.
Yeah. But with the like we said before, but these penalties. Like that they eliminated to keep it to a minimum. I think that did play a part in them improving in this game. Like we said, defense does win games. So with their dominance going into this bye week, so they're playing the Broncos next. That's correct, on December 5th. That's next. So the Broncos have been doing well. So tell me, do you think with the defense dominating, the offense is kind of lacking? Do you think they're going to carry over this winning streak onto the Broncos? Do you think the offense needs to pick it up a little bit more? With Patrick Mahomes, he's not doing his best right now, but do you think
even though he's still like at the top of everything?
I think in this game he had 260 yards. He did throw another pick. He went back to that tradition again. No TDs, relying on the defense and those field goals. But I don't know, is that going to be enough to get by the Broncos?
Yeah, you know, kind of what some Chiefs Twitter people have been saying. Some of the like Chiefs beat writers is kind of like, you know, maybe we're in this weird part of Patrick Mahomes' career where right now the defense is playing really well, possibly the best they've been since we've had him, which is still like so crazy to say just because of how they started the season, you know? But kind of the thought is like, okay, well, if the defense plays this well, then obviously Patrick Mahomes and company don't have to go and score 40 points to win a game. So it's like, are we being more conservative with the offensive play calling, which I kind of thought a little bit afterwards is like, you know, we were running the ball a lot. And not saying that that was the wrong call, because I think that we do need to run the ball a lot. I think that that is part of what has helped us be successful when we have successful offensive games. But I don't know. People are just saying like, okay, well, if the defense is going to play like this, then Mahomes doesn't have to go score 30 or go score 40. Like we can score, you know, 20 or close to 20, and that's enough to win a game when the other team can't score a touchdown, you know? So I don't know. I like the thought because I'm like, I mean, why would you, you know, why would you go out and throw out everything and show everybody everything to win games with offense that you don't necessarily need to? It's kind of a mind fuck, if you will, because it's like, you know, I don't think I don't think that we're ever like pulling the reins back on Mahomes and them, but at the same time, like, I mean, it makes perfect sense. Why would you continue to show more of your offense and whatnot, especially when you're about to get into nothing but divisional play and nothing but possible playoff teams being the Bengals and the Steelers? Like, those are our only two other games that are not conference games for the remainder of the season. Like, when we could see both of those teams again in the playoffs, and we could see uh, anybody in our division again in the playoffs right now, because they're all in contention right now. None of them are out of the hunt yet for the playoffs. So I don't know. I kind of like that idea, and I think it makes sense. I think that we don't have to do as much on offense and we can still win games. However, I don't want us to get comfortable with that, because obviously these, if you look at the Giants, if you look at Green Bay and then that Dallas game, you know, like games where we haven't been blowing out the opponent, you know, then it's like, oh well, that's a close game. But like, also, if you backtrack to last season, like, we didn't really blow out anybody. Like, we blew out the Jets at home, and I mean, the Jets were horrible. You know, they still had Adam Gase last year, and I think that was really the only game that we won very convincingly, that we won by more than one score. A lot of our games last year where we only lost two, we lost to the Raiders at home, and then we lost to the Chargers in Week 17 when Mahomes didn't play. Well, actually, like, none of the starters played. It was all like backups. But anyway, like, last year we were not super dominant, and I think a lot of people forget that. Like, everybody just remembers Mahomes' first year when we were just going out and killing everybody. You know, we were putting up 40, and if we didn't put up 40, we were putting up more than that, and then we would somehow lose the game. So I think a lot of people just like always associate Mahomes and Travis and Tyreek and this offense with like high scoring games. But like, if you look back at our whole season last year, like, we averaged about 23 to 31 was our average score, but like, we still had games where we were very close with the competition. So I think now that the defense is better, and I can say this confidently now because I've been talking about the defense, and I think that the defense is better now, and I know that they are because they've gone out and shown it. I think the offense doesn't have to pull everything out. They don't have to show everything. I think that they can go out and score early and get up and get ahead, and we can kind of ride that out. And, you know, and again, I don't want them to get comfortable doing that, because I don't think that that's like how we should always play our football games. I like what we did against Las Vegas. I think we should do more of that. That's really fun, you know, when we just kind of never lay off the brakes or off the gas. I'm sorry. But you know, I don't know with the Broncos. The Broncos have been so wishy-washy. They had their first three games where they played crappy teams and they looked really good, and then they lost three games, and then they went and beat Dallas, and you know, and they just had their bye, so they'll be coming off a bye. I don't know who they play this week. I think they play the Chargers actually. So we'll see how they do against the Chargers, because I would say, and this is how the rankings go right now, is like us, Chargers, and then I think Denver and Las Vegas are tied, or maybe Denver's one ahead of Vegas. But that's how I would rank them in my rankings too. Is I think we are at the top, and then the Chargers are right behind us. So honestly, if Denver beats the Chargers, then I don't really know what to think of our division, because it's just kind of a crapshoot at this point. Like, everybody can beat everybody, and everybody's good when they want to be, and then they beat good teams and they lose to crappy teams, and it's just kind of crazy right now. So we'll see how they do this weekend when they play each other. I think the Raiders actually play tomorrow against the Cowboys, so we'll see how they do. But it's just going to be really interesting, because we got to play the whole division. Everybody still has to play each other, and it's all gonna work itself out. And I think that as long as we can take care of business and we win the games that we know that we should win, which to me is all of the remaining divisional games, I think the Thursday night in LA is going to be tough, but we've got to win. I mean, they already came to our house and beat us, so we can't drop two games to them in the same season. That's not how we like to do divisional things. But no, I think I think Denver's gonna try to give us a good game. I honestly, I haven't watched them a lot. I don't really watch the division unless it's prime time. I know that Teddy's been doing better for them than some of their quarterbacks of the last couple of years. I know the defense has been pretty good. I know that's how they beat Dallas. The defense came out and was just kind of all over him, similar to what we just did to Dak. But yeah, I don't know. I think it should be a good game. I mean, I think we gotta score a little bit more. Like I think a comfortable place is like it is not far from where we were at. I think maybe 21, 23 is like where we should aim. Maybe 27, like I'm not saying we got to score 30 or 40, but like if we can score in the comfy 20s, I think that's a fair enough spot to where the defense can do their job. And I mean, the defense proved that they can hold teams to 9 points, that they can hold people to just field goals, and like that's great. But at the same time, I think that the defense was on the field a lot on Sunday, and I was not real happy about that. I'd like the offense to at least try to string some runs together, and get us a little more points on the board. So I think if we can do that, if the defense can hold up, and if the offense can just get a little more on the scoreboard than 19, then I think we'll be all right. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the Broncos do this weekend, and while we're sitting on the couch and not having to worry about it.
Yeah, I agree. I think if they avoid a lot of those 3-and-out plays, give the defense some
Yeah.
time to rest, and they put some more points on the board, yeah, I think we'll have something here. As we
Yeah.
enter in this bye week, they're going to have some time to rest, prepare for the Broncos. They're going to get a chance to scout
Yes.
them to see how they do against this Las Vegas team. Unfortunately, my Bears did not get the job done this week, but hopefully,
Oh,
they'll
hey, we'll see what they do
rebound. But
tomorrow.
yeah, they're losing by like just 1 or 2 points, very close
Yeah.
games. So they're doing okay. I would like them to get a win, but we'll see. I think Justin Fields, is injured again. But
Yeah, you
hopefully
get
we
Andy Dalton
will.
tomorrow.
Yeah, unfortunately, but we'll see how they do. But yeah,
Right.
for this prediction, when we come back for the Broncos in about a week, we'll see how they do. But yeah, they have coming off another win. They get a well-deserved rest, and
Yes.
yeah, we'll see how they do when we come back. But any
Yes.
final thoughts for this bye week?
No, I think I'm glad that it's here, and I'm glad that they get to rest up a little bit. We actually got out of that game pretty healthy. I think Fenton, they thought he did something to his knee, but he didn't. So that's good. He'll at least get to rest it anyway. But yeah, we made it out of there healthy, which is awesome. I mean, like I said, I think injuries has kind of been the name of the game this year, and it sucks, and you don't want anybody to get hurt, but you just feel lucky that of each week that you get out of a game with little to no injuries. So the fact that we were able to do that against Dallas, I think, is a really, really a positive thing. So yeah, I think they'll get rested up. I know a lot of them already back home for the holiday tomorrow. A lot of them did some charity stuff out here in Kansas City before they left. I feel like we always have our bye week, the Thanksgiving weekend, which I am all for it. I think it's great, and I like having it later because then it's like almost right in the middle, It's like it's very close to being right in the middle, but I think having it a little bit later is always positive for them too. So I think that they'll be nice and rested, and Andy Reid is really, really good coming off of a bye. So I'm hoping that goes in our favor. And this game against the Broncos was supposed to be a noon kickoff, and it got flexed to a Sunday night game. So we'll be playing Sunday night again. My sleep schedule does not like that, but I don't mind it. I like prime time. I think that they're fun. And I really like noon games too, but I won't be too distraught about it if they want to put my team into prime time after having a crappy start and nobody really wanted to watch us.
Oh yeah. Well, hopefully your team, the Chiefs, they'll get another win, even with you on that sleep schedule. But I know they'll win
Yes.
for you. We'll see.
Right.
We'll be back here in about a week or so for
Yes.
the recap for the Broncos. So we get a week off from TNA Chiefs
Yes.
recap, but it's still always a good time here with you, Tay. Well, thank you so much, guys. Like we said
Thank
before, we'll be
you.
back here. The next time you see us will be in about a week or so with the Chiefs versus Broncos. But
Yep.
guys, enjoy your Thanksgiving. Eat as much turkey, mac and cheese, ham,
Mashed potatoes.
mashed potatoes. Yes. Enjoy the break. Go out for Black Friday. Stay safe.
Yep.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Tay. It's been a
Yep,
great
thank
episode,
you.
and we will see you guys
Absolutely.
next time.
Yep.